Zakir Bhai. I was a Hindu first and I converted into Islam recently. What I would like to ask you a question is this, that when a woman is carrying a baby in a womb, Islam forbids abortion. But if a woman is facing some kind of a medical problem, if she's anemic, or if she has just delivered a baby recently, in recent months to come, and there's always a threat to her life, non-Muslims doctors say to abort it, and when the Muslim doctors say it is haram. And someone who's a little bit modern has said that if the child is for 40 days in the womb, before 40 days you can abort it, after 40 days it is not possible, you cannot do it under Islamic law. Is that right or is that wrong?
The brother asked a question that is speaking that today scientifically, the doctors who want to abort, etc., why does Quran does not give permission to abort if it's danger to the life of the mother? Quran speaks about abortion in Surah Anam, chapter 6, verse number 151, as well as in Surah Isra, chapter 17, verse number 31. It says, "Kill not your children for want of sustenance. For it is Allah that will provide sustenance to you and your children. For killing of infants is a major sin." So abortion is haram under normal circumstances. For example, pork is haram. Alcohol is haram. Having dead meat is haram. But same time the Quran says in 4 different places. In Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse number 173, in Surah Ma'idah chapter number 5 verse number 3, in Surah Anam chapter 6 verse number 145, and Surah Nahl chapter 16 verse number 115, it says that if unwillingly, if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is Rahman Rahim. If under compulsion, if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is Rahman Rahim. If you are dying of hunger, pork is the only dish that you can have. Pork becomes halal for you. It's perfectly halal, but don't have so much and keep on having after you don't require it. If you are in a jungle, if pork is the only thing that you can find to eat, or in a desert, pork becomes allowed for you only for that time. When you come back to the city, it becomes haram. The same way abortion, just because you don't want a child, is haram in Islam. It's a major sin. But if it's a danger to the life of the mother, it's totally allowed. Because in Islam, the life of the mother is more precious than the life of the child, which has not come in being on its own. I do know there are certain people who say that after 40 days, it's not allowed, before 40 it's allowed. Quran is very clear-cut on that. If it's a danger to your life, unwillingly if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's totally allowed. So if the doctors say that you have certain heart problem and the labor pains will cause a strain on your heart, the mother will die, you have to abort, you have to go ahead with it. Because in Islam, you cannot sacrifice a greater loss to save a small loss. The life of the mother who's already alive and adult is more important than the child who cannot live on its own. So in these cases, if it's a danger to the life of the mother, it's totally allowed in Islam. If it's not a danger, it's haram. Hope that answers the question.
The next question from the ladies' side.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Zakir. My question is, when Quran speaks so much about science, then how come the Muslims are so backward in the field of science?
The sister posed the question that when Quran speaks so much about science, how come the Muslims are backward? Sister, I would mainly blame the media. The media today is in the hands of the Westerners, the Europeans. It's in their hand. They have the satellite, they have the television, they have the CNN, they have the BBC. It's in their hand. The media is in their hand. And whatever you read in your school books and books which you read in college, you'll read there that from 8th to the 12th century, it was the dark ages. Dark for whom? It was dark for the Europeans, not for the world. The Arabs and the Muslims were very much advanced from the 8th to the 12th century. They were very much advanced. The Europeans were backward. Because they were backward, they said it was dark ages for the world. It was not dark for the world, it was dark for the Europeans. With the limited instruments and technology what we had from 8th to 12th century, what discoveries the Muslim scientists have made, it's unbelievable. Today, because science is advanced, we're making so many discoveries. There, with the amount of limited facility we had, the amount of discoveries Muslim scientists made, it's unbelievable. For example, I quoted in my talk that Ibn Nafis, he discovered the blood circulation. But in the medical books and the books we read in school, who discovered blood circulation? William Harvey. Everyone knows William Harvey. No one knows about Ibn Nafis. Ibn Nafis spoke about blood circulation 400 years before. The Europeans, they later on picked up the books of the Muslims and rehashed it and said, we discovered it. See, if you see the discovery that Muslims have made. For example, if you know Al-Idrusi, in 1154, he drew the first map of Mediterranean, the geography of the world. First. Mathematics. Muslims were far advanced in mathematics. We introduced the decimal points. Do you know what we call the digits 1, 2, 3? It's called as Arabic numerals. The other ones are called as Roman numerals. Why it's called Arabic numerals? Because the Arabs were the one who discovered it. The decimal point are the Arabic numerals. The person who first proved the Pythagoras theorem, he was Al-Tusi. We know about the Pythagoras theorem, but we don't know about Al-Tusi. He said that the square of the hypotenuse was equal to the sum of the opposite two sides of the triangle. Al-Biruni, he was an authority in trigonometry. All these people, they were experts. If you know of Al-Kindi, Al-Kindi, he was a philosopher, a mathematician, an astronomer. When great scientists like Galileo, Newton, etc., they said that all physical laws were absolute, he said that all physical laws are relative. And today we know the theory of relativity is proved by Albert Einstein. No one knows about Al-Kindi. He was the person who basically gave the idea of theory of relativity. Later on, he did more research and talked about theory of relativity. Who knows about the three brothers, Muhammad, Shakir and Hassan? Who know about them? They told the surface area of the earth from an angle at the Red Sea when people thought the world was flat. Chemistry. The Muslims are far advanced in chemistry. Ibn Hayyan, Jabir ibn Hayyan, they have Latinized the word Geber. So when we read in our textbook Geber, we think it's an European. It's a Muslim. Jabir ibn Hayyan. We know Geber, we don't know who's Jabir. He is the person who distilled alcohol. Alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-ghul, meaning ghost, evil spirit. Alkali is an Arabic word. He wrote 2,000 different pages only on chemistry. Muhammad Zakir Naik, he was famous in medicine. He was authority on the field of smallpox and measles. He was the first person who used mercury ointment. He wrote books on children's disease. There are several Muslim scientists. Ali ibn Abbas, he wrote 20 volumes on medicine. Ali ibn Sina, known as Avicenna. Avicenna, it doesn't sound Muslim. Ali ibn Sina, Muslim. Avicenna, not Muslim. Who got the title of Aristotle of the East. He wrote the book Qanun, which was referred as a textbook of medicine till as late as 17th century. Who knows Ibn Zuhur? He was the person after Alexander who did research on parasitology. He described the H. mite, the pericarditis, he described the otitis media, he did tracheostomy. Several medical doctors, Al-Zaharvi. Al-Zaharvi was a famous dentist as well as surgeon as well as obstetrician. He invented several instruments of surgery, gynecology, as well as dentistry. We all of us know the other thing, but the media is in the hands of the Westerners. The Muslims are far advanced. But I do agree with you. Today, the Muslims are getting backward in science. You know why? The Europeans are being advanced. You know why? The Muslims are becoming backward because they are going away from the Holy Quran. They are going away from the religion. And do you know why the Europeans are getting advanced? They too are going away from the religion. The Europeans are also getting advanced because even they are going away from the religion. The Muslims, we are going backward because they are going away from religion. I would request the Muslim brothers and sisters out here, as well as non-Muslims, they are people reading the Quran. Why don't we read the Quran with understanding? Why don't we ponder over the verses? We have only kept the Quran kissing and giving on top, that's all. The Quran was not meant only to be kissed and kept on top. It should be implemented in your daily life. If you implement the Quran in your daily life, read it with understanding, inshallah, again, we will be on top of the world. Hope that answers the question.
Now I would request our volunteers to give opportunity to any non-Muslim brothers and guests we have here at our mics to give them a preference and opportunity, and then our other brothers.
I am K. Mahesh, lecturer from Sabu Siddiq Polytechnic in the Computer Department. I would like to ask regarding the Muslim marriage system, why Islam allows more than one woman to be married with a man?
The brother posed the question that why does Islam allow a man to marry more than one wife? Quran is the only religious book on the face of the earth which says marry only one. There's no other religious book on the face of the earth, whether you read the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, no religious book says marry only one except the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran says in Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse number 3, it says, marry women of your choice in twos, threes or fours. But if you can't do justice, marry only one. If you can't do justice, marry only one. Otherwise, if you can do justice, Quran has put an upper limit, 2, 3 or 4. Maximum 4, not more than that. Previous religions, they gave permission for a man to marry as many wives as you want. Quran put an upper restriction of maximum 4. You know why? Because if you think logically, if you analyze, but it says at the same time, in Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse 129, it is difficult to do justice between your wives. It's difficult. Therefore, do not turn away from them altogether. Marrying more than one wife, you don't get more sawab. You don't get more blessings. There is no hadith saying that if you marry more than one wife, you get more sawab. There's a hadith which says that if you marry, you complete half your deen. So somebody asked me a question at the time, does it mean if I marry twice, I complete my full deen? No, marriage takes you away from promiscuity, from fornication, therefore it is fard. But whether you marry one or two, yet you're only completing half your deen. The reason why Islam gives permission for polygyny, that's the right word, is because if you analyze, men and women are born in equal proportion. But in the pediatric age itself, since the female is the stronger sex medically, if you ask any pediatrician, he'll tell you, the female can fight the germs and disease much better than the male. So more female children live than the male children. There are more deaths in the male children than female children. When you grow up, there are accidents, death due to cigarette smoking, death due to war. More male die than female. War in Afghanistan. Do you know more than 1 million people died? Mainly they were gents. Whatever it is, whatever you said. More men die than female. If you analyze the statistics, India is one of the few countries in which there is more male than female. You know why? Because of female infanticide. Every day, 3,000 fetuses are being aborted when they identified that they are females. More than 1 million aborted every year in India on being identified they are female. That's the reason. Otherwise, if you see the statistics of America, there are more than 7.8 million females than males in America alone. In New York alone, there is 1 million female more than male. And out of the population of New York, 1/3 are gay, sodomite, Luth. There are more than 25 million gays in America. That means there are more than 30 million females who can't find husband in America alone. In UK alone, there are 4 million female more than male. In Germany alone, 5 million female more than male. In Russia alone, 7 million female more than male. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone knows there are how many million females more than males in this world. I am asking you a question that suppose my sister or your sister happens to live in America, and suppose everyone agrees with your philosophy that every man should marry one wife, and every man in America marries a woman, still there will be 7.8 million females, and plus, since the gays also don't get married, there will be more than 25 to 30 million females who can't find husbands. If my sister happens to be one of those unfortunate lady who has not been married and the market is saturated, the only option remaining for my sister is to marry a man who already has a wife or become public property.
The next question from a brother on the left.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sadiyar Anwar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything. Some verses we created, prepared like this? Why plural is coming?
The brother posed the question that why has the word we used in the Quran for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it more than one? Brother, we in Arabic, there are two types. One is we for plural, one is royal plural. Royal plural. Like for example, if you know Rajiv Gandhi, how he used to speak, he used to say, hum dekhna chahte hai, hum. That hum was not plural, it was singular. It's a royal plural, it's called. The same way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, some places uses I, some places uses we. The we in Arabic does not indicate plurality. It means royal plural. Actually it is singular. So we, when it says we have created you, it means singular Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Quran clearly states in Surah Ikhlas, chapter 112, verse number 1, Qul huwallahu ahad. Say he is Allah one and only. Allah is only one, not more than one. Hope that answers the question.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I would like to know whether organ transplant and organ donation are permitted in Islam.
The sister posed a question that is organ transplantation or donation allowed in Islam or not? There's no verse in the Holy Quran directly saying that whether you should give or you should not give. It's silent on that issue. There were various conferences taking place by various ulama throughout the world, including in Malaysia, in Jeddah, in Riyadh, even here, on this issue where organ transplantation is allowed or not. By the consensus of the ulama of the world, today they say that organ transplantation is allowed if you satisfy the three conditions. First is the organ that are going to give to the person. The person, if he receives the organ, his life will be saved. Only if his life is in danger, and then if he wants the organ, then it's allowed. Point number 2, the person donating the organ, he should not do it for economical reasons, not for money. Not for getting 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees. Third is after the person donates the organ, it should not cause loss of his life. Today science tells that there are certain organs in the body, for example the kidney. 1 kidney is sufficient for a human being to survive and lead a normal life. The second is an additional. Suppose my mother, if she has both the kidney failure, and if I donate 1 kidney, surely Allah will not hold me responsible. So but natural, if it doesn't cause a loss to my life, I can't say I want to donate my heart. If my heart is taken out, I'll die. So I can't donate my heart. I can only donate those organs which will not cause loss to my life. And I should not do it for economical reasons, point number 2. And third, it should save the life. This is the consensus of ulamas of the conference that took place in Malaysia, in Riyadh, in Jeddah, in India. In India, the ulamas were reluctant, but now if you ask the Fiqh Academy of India, even they say it should not be done. But if it is used to saving the life as a last resort, you can give your organ as a donation. Hope that answers the question.